So guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm just tiptoeing my way through this wheat paddock. Just going to go test some wheat. But this always happens every year. We always start harvest on the weekend. But that's farming, and that's why I named this channel Eat, Sleep, Farm, Repeat, because as you'll tell, it happens a lot. When I'm out here testing this wheat, I'm also looking to double check that there are no wild oats or other such as seed type plants that we need to rogue out quickly before we get into it. Of course, we've been watching the whole time to make sure that there are no bad grasses or other such seeding crops coming through that aren't wheat. That will destroy our sample, as this wheat is going for milling, so it's going to be made into bread and other such products. So it'll shoot up, so be harvested, stored here for a wee bit, then go up to Christchurch. It'll probably go to, I believe, Western Mills and be milled and made into flour or bread. So one little thing is, if I can't see those mountains, I don't know if the camera can see them, but I can definitely see those mountains, not clear as day, but I can see them clearly. If I can't see them, then I know that the humidity in the air is too high and the moisture on this crop will be too high for us to harvest. So I'm just out here with this ice cream container, taking a few seed heads off. Take some from here, then we'll walk over here, take some more. Just holding 5 things at once: camera, ice cream container. So there is a good enough sample. I'll take that back to the workshop and I'll thrash it, and then I'll also blow out all of the little shells, and I'll just be left with a seed, and I'll crush that up into a machine, and that'll tell me my moisture reading. That's about it, right? So I'll go back, sort this, and we should know what we've got. So as you can see guys from that time lapse, I grinded down the seed heads and just got left with the seed. There's a little bit of trash in there still. That won't hurt anybody, but it's a pretty good sample. And so I've just put it into this moisture meter, grounded it down, and now I'll push the button and see what it equals. 15.9. So unfortunately, we're not ready to harvest yet. Like I said, there is a little bit of humidity in the air, unfortunately, because seeing those mountains, I can't see them as clear as day. So there is a little bit of humidity in the air. So unfortunately, we're not getting harvesting today, but that was an interesting little test just to see where we're at, and we'll test it again in a couple of hours, and hopefully she would have come down to a acceptable level, which is about around 14. Would be happy and would get cracking, and we wouldn't have to dry it. We could put it into a silo away from the drying silo. But that paddock there, we are aiming for our first paddock, or to be our first paddock to harvest, simply because we want to clone that seed next year. So that seed that we'll be harvesting out of that paddock will be put into the ground in the spring after the winter, obviously, and that'll be next year's crop. So, but it'll obviously be treated before it goes into the ground. So anyway guys, hopefully we'll get harvesting today. I'm looking forward to it, but unfortunately the test has come back in negative, so we can't actually get going. But anyway, Okay guys, so the hammer's down. It started. Harvest 2021. Here we go. So like I was saying, we always start at the weekend. Today's Saturday afternoon, mid-February. I'm carrying this metallic dust, or silo dust, out to the unloading auger. Just getting the tractor warmed up so that the first time I come through, I'm not running a cold engine. But more about this dust. That's enough of a warm up for her. So that dust protects against bugs and so forth. The first load I'll be putting in an extra third more than the given rate. That's because a lot of the bugs seem to get in and around the bottom of the silo and live around there. So we always start out in our default positions. So I'm on the grain chaser bin, and then Dad's on the harvester. Tomorrow or later on tonight I'll probably come back once Dad's finished harvesting and grab the baler and head out and bale. As when the moisture level gets too high for the harvester, I'll come back once Dad's finished harvesting and grab the baler and head out. So obviously by then I would have stopped chasing the harvester with the grain bin and come back, grab the baler and head out for a couple of hours, hopefully get a few acres done, or hectares, sorry, done tonight. So that is because the baler can run at higher moisture levels. We don't need it to be so dry. We still need it to be dry, but not as much as the harvester needs to go. So one of the jobs as being the grain bin driver or chaser bin driver is to always have the moisture meter. So I'll be the one testing the grain, making sure it's at the right moisture level. If it starts getting near 15, we'll pull the pin and have to stop. We always like to add one for the harvester. It is a rule that we always live by, and so that keeps the moisture level safe when we're storing it in the silos. So I've got to always look out for that harvester moving up the paddock. Not only that it's still going, but the flashing beacons will get going when the bin, the internal bin, is 70% full, and so I'll know when to start to drive towards him. But he's on the opening round and I am unable to drive through that grain. Obviously it would be a really dumb decision to do that, so I've got to wait until he gets all the way round to here. So he is currently isolated. We are also, the other thing is, when the lights go on the harvester, he'll flick out the auger and be ready to unload. So there we go, the lights just flashed, but unfortunately he's got to make it all the way back. The other option is that we unload onto the laneway. I can easily see that happening actually. So he'll just harvest himself a little area and then sit there by the track, flick his auger out, and I'll park under it. I could see that happening quite easy actually. But right, I better get moving. No reversing cameras needed around here. So hopefully this side hopper swings around and ends up in the right position. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Couldn't have wished for more. Right, I've got to set you guys down over here. So it's moved up from 13.8 to 14.1, so we'll just really keep our eyes on it from now on, testing every load. So as you've seen there, the harvester has already milled it, so there's no point in us grabbing those ice cream containers and dividing it up and whatever. We can just grab it straight out of the harvester, chuck it into this moisture meter and grind it up and test it. And now I've got a highly gluten concentrated snack in the field. It's actually pretty good. Right, go unload this and then come back. Likes to play around. So I would have just shown you guys a clip, a time lapse of me testing the grain twice as I unloaded it. Now I went back to the paddock, Dad and I had a little walk around and check the seed heads to make sure they're all empty when they're coming out of the harvester, and to make sure there's no seed spilling onto the ground, effectively going through the harvester and not being caught by the harvester. Now that's all good, but the moisture was playing around on those two tests, and they came back as one was 15.3 again, then the next one was 14.8. So as you can see, it's fluctuating and just mucking us around. It's getting annoying, but after this load here, there's only one load to go and that paddock's done, and it's all clear for the baler to come through. I'll go through and bale that straw all up. It'll be a really clear track, so I won't have to dodge any wheat in the middle of the paddock. So this is the second to last load. This is the second to last load. The next load will probably be the last. There is a little bit more, then I'll have to go back and grab that. But otherwise guys, I'll probably put the camera down for now. Hopefully you guys have learned something. I'd really like to thank you guys for watching. As you can see, it's not easy juggling 100 things at once. So if you like the video, that it's been made by the real farmer on the job, as he's doing the job, then please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Anyway guys, hey, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.